I bought over 445s on eBay. Now I'm going through them, cleaning each one, and looking for lost gems. And the next one is a guy called Keith Everett. And the songs are Don't You Know and, quite interestingly, Conscientious Objector. Don't You Know is not the Ray Charles song. It's written by somebody called Kay Gravenhorst, as was Conscientious Objector. I don't know if it's true, but I hope that the K in Kay Gravenhorst is Keith, and I hope his real name is Keith Gravenhorst, and his artist name he changed for his superstar career was Keith Everett. I hope that's true because I think Keith Gravenhorst is a better name. He should have kept his original name. I like this record because I don't know it, but I like the label because it's a ridiculous-looking company, TMP-Ting, which is not even possible to say, which I've never heard of. What I really like it is that the A side and the B side are clearly labeled, which helps out people like me who don't know which is the A and the B. So Don't You Know doesn't sound like anything. Any song could be called Don't You Know. Conscientious Objector is a very interesting title. Makes it sound like it's a lot different than the usual pop garbage because, you know, Conscientious Objector was somebody who was, as I recall, was drafted to go fight in the Vietnam War, but you could apply for Conscientious Objector status, which means I do not support this war and I will not go fight. I do not believe in it. And I guess the government sometimes allowed you to not go. I don't know why that would be the case, but so maybe it's sort of folky, like a protest kind of thing or something. I hope it's not like, I'm a conscientious objector of your love or something like that, you know. But that'd be kind of interesting too, I guess. So let's check it out. Don't You Know and Conscientious Objector. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be folky. Not even folk rock, maybe just folky. More like, not Barry Sadler. Tell me, even Barry Maguire. Is that the guy? Yeah. Anyway, let's see what Mr. Keith Gravenhorst Everett was up to in I don't know. I'll listen to it, then I'll guess the date. Gravenhorst. Oh man, I said Barry Maguire and this came on? What a genius. I like that spooky West Coast pop art experimental band kind of vibe there. In the arena. Simple, spooky, atmospheric. Tell me over and over and over again. Keep going down to them minor chords. It's a something solo. Never heard that on a record before. Good for Keith Everett. Love that part. Like if you took a 2x4 and hit the doors on the sides of their heads, then they would come to the studio and do something like that. In a good way. Folk rock.
All through our history, there have been that kind who sit here at home while others are dying.
Definitely Vietnam War related.
They're sitting here safe and secure while someone else is willing to endure the fighting, the crying, the pain, and the dying for these fools.
A little more to the right than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more like a leftist kind of hippie, like no war thing. But it's more like, why don't you get over there and fight, you loser?
The conscientious objectors.
Oh my.
But all they're trying to do is trying to infect us.
It's the right-wing answer to Eve of Destruction. Good songs, good singing.
Defectors, the way they act.
The way they act. That's an interesting historical curio.
We'll keep it
And
up.
it's groovy. It's very Barry Maguire. It's Barry Maguire. It's very Maguire.
You got no way of knowing.
That's good. Let's all go to Vietnam.
That Vietnam is today, and you'll be sorry. You fools.
A tad of its time. You fools.
You conscientious.
A tad preachy. But hey, who wasn't back in the 60s?
Defectors.
The way you act. Wow. Nixon 68! Wow, this is interesting. Don't You Know is kind of slow and creepy and had a psychedelic kind of vibe. Conscientious Objector was shut up, you hippies, cut your hair off and go fight in Vietnam like the tough guys. Amazing. I would say this was from 68. Just musically, I wouldn't put it much past 67, but with the message, I wouldn't put it much before 67 or 68. I'd say 68. Just I think 68. By 68, the objection to people being conscientious objectors might have reached a point where you would have made a song about it. So let's see what was up with Keith Everett. Who was he? Did he put out more stuff? What was his approach to this? What was he doing? Was he over there fighting? Maybe he was a soldier who came back. And is he Gravenhorst? Please let him be Gravenhorst. He had to be Gravenhorst. Why would he sing somebody else's songs? He is Gravenhorst until I find out further. Let's go research this right now. As it turns out, this record is actually from 1966. It was Keith Everett's first release, as far as I can tell. And his Discogs page in no way disappoints. He looks amazing, and I'm happy to report that Mr. Everett and Mr. Gravenhorst are one and the same. He put out 2 other singles as Keith Everett after Don't You Know. She's the One Who Loved You and The Chant, which is apparently the story of an escaped slave on the run, done in a fuzz garage rock style. In the early 70s, Keith wised up and put out another single under his real and better name.
But if you don't you know? Don't you know? I'll never get over you. Don't you know? No matter what you may.
The way you act.